All right. So good morning, Sue, and good afternoon, good evening to others who have joined us from, I think, all over the world. Thank you so much, people, for joining in. How are you doing, Sue? Hope everyone is staying safe and sound.
Yes, I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me, and so good to see you again, and good to see some of the people I actually recognize in the invitee here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, welcome to Coffee Chat with FiveS, a concept which actually originated from our thought process when we started discussing things to spread word about impact sourcing and responsible sourcing, for that matter. So we at FiveS have been thinking around how should we be, doing it. So we thought, as an organization, we are all about technology and human empathy going together. So why not talk to some of the global leaders and start discussing about what are the practices that are being followed globally, how the last 1.5 years have changed the way people think and, they take decisions. So that was the whole idea, and that's our coffee chat with FiveS. The idea got germinated. Having said that, it was very kind of you to, accept this invite to be my first guest on the very, very first chat of, doing this event with FiveS. Really appreciate it. So we are going to talk a lot about responsible sourcing and businesses today. So I think, why don't you go about introducing yourself and the work that you do with SAP?
All right. First of all, Kapil, you are a very impressive man. And when I met you first time and you told me about the story, how you started your business and this true impact sourcing business, the supplier being amazing story. So that's why it was easy for me to say yes, and then wanted to continue to work with you and engaging the dialogue and then spreading that good positive news to the world. So that's my, that's how much I really appreciated your story. And I think at some point you should probably share that story with more people, how you started your business. So yeah, for myself, hello everybody. My name is Soo Shim. I'm part of SAP. So yeah, I've been with SAP for 17 years almost now. Currently, I'm part of the intelligence spend management group. That is basically solution area for line of business procurement. Many of you may have heard SAP Ariba previously, and that's a cloud enterprise that SAP acquired many years ago. And then along with Ariba and many other solution areas are all kind of coming together to really serve our customers in their business area of procurement. So that's kind of currently where I belong. And that's why also I'm very big in this responsible sourcing or overall the sustainable procurement, we call it. And that's it's my passionate topic. And since I'm working on it, all my customers are actually working in this procurement and supply chain. So these are daily topics we talk about. My role within that organization, currently I am leading up the industry team. So our industry value chains, actually, that team is really focusing on serving our customers again in each sector in the industry. And because each industry has different challenges, even if they're all doing the supply chain, but there's a different trend, different challenges they need to address. So we really trying to customize our solutions towards that customers' needs and then engaging them for the customer success focus. So that's kind of at the high level currently what I'm doing. Yeah.
Great. I think very impressive. And the word responsible sourcing itself comes, to be like being more responsible. So let's try and talk about having worked with SAP and leading the responsible sourcing piece. What do you think, how the business priorities have changed over the last couple of years? And do you really think that, social impact is becoming much more relevant in the way the businesses are driving their strategies?
Yes, because when you and I met through the Global Impact Sourcing Coalition, and that's before pandemic time. So last 2 years, the pandemic definitely accelerated everything and really completely changed. So I see that the three factors last 2 years. First of all, pandemic that really forced all the corporate business owners and executives to rethink their supply chain. I mean, everything was becoming globalized, the global supply chain. It was very important. But then we also realized that we felt that impact right away when the pandemic hit, how it could really disrupt the whole global supply chain. And then supply chain leaders I'm talking with, they all thought about, wow, we need to have different alternative methods, or we need to be more resilient. That means we have to have a different planning. Maybe we cannot just rely on that good old one supplier that I trusted for the last 20 years, maybe in China, wherever. I need something more local. Maybe I need the smaller suppliers that can support multiple sourcing. So there are other ways has to come. So just this unfortunate event kind of made all of us to think about how to be always more resilient and risk averse. So that's one thing. And the other part is that, unfortunately, during that time, again, in the US with George Floyd's event that happened, created this global movement and increasing the more awareness and consciousness among just regular people like us about this racial inequity or social injustice and just less equal opportunities, right? So this is kind of driving force again for corporate to be more responsible and spreading this equal opportunities for even diverse suppliers, for example, right? So that became again focal point. And third point is that government part. So yes, the consumers are demanding, corporate is doing it right thing to increase their shareholder values and supply chain value, but also the government is forcing more. Some companies and some countries are already having the laws that certain percentage of spending must be through these diverse suppliers and so on. Not all countries have it, but also on top of that, some countries have the law that force corporates to be even more transparent with their supply chain. The latest law is that from Germany, right? I think Supply Chain Due Diligence Act or something like that just came out, and then forcing all these big companies to comply by 2023. So that's actually asking companies to be even more transparent and then managing their suppliers better. So this is not just diversity topic, it's going on to the responsible sourcing, ethical sourcing, because we really want to have that due diligence on whether we have any like forced labors or child labors, any just injustice happening in the smaller, maybe the N-tier suppliers level, even so. So that three different angles, government or this just the corporate itself trying to be more resilient and on the supply chain, or the social movement from the people and consumers demanding, all that coming as like almost perfect storm. So I feel that last 2 years or last year or so, this social procurement and responsible sourcing have become even more important than ever.
Oh, great. So I think a very aptly talked about topic in this particular time. One key aspect that I just wanted to, kind of talk about, because I think there is some misconception around if you onboard a diverse supplier, are you letting go of the business processes or the business priorities? I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions that people feel, that if I onboard a diverse supplier, I'm going to compromise on my work, right? But through SAP Ariba as a platform, how do you think you have ensured that at the end of the day, it is meritorious partner that comes on board? Having said that, opportunity to present themselves is provided to all the diverse supplier.
Right. So, and first of all, SAP Ariba or SAP itself have, so our overall goal is that SAP itself is an exemplar being the socially responsible company, but also our mission is serving companies to run better and improve people's lives. So that's actually our purpose statement. And how we do that is by leveraging our technology and our platform. So very good example is now we call SAP Business Network, and then SAP Ariba and all other solution is incorporated and integrated into the business network concept. So we are really helping the big companies to actually, first of all, find whether it's big or small, the right company partner, the trading partners, right? And then also because we know that a lot of our customers really do want to work more with the social enterprises or the diverse suppliers. It's just that actually it's difficult for them to even know where are they? Are they even qualified? Are they real? They might just say that, but maybe just not true. So all those things are questionable. So we are helping them to find the better, right partners through this Alibaba SAP Business Network by providing this more intelligence insights using our digital footprint and data that we gather from our transactions in the network. Just in a high level, that's overall our goal and our function and role, how we matching these big companies and small companies. And of course, there has to be some sort of due diligence, and each company has to have their own policy, and they need to know what they are looking for, right? It's not just about because it's woman owned, but then with something, or whatever that requirements they need to validate through their RFP process. The process itself, each company has, will not disappear. We are supporting that with our technology to make that much easier, and also to validate the data better, right?
Right. Great. So just a connecting question on the same point, with you experiencing various industry value chain initiatives at SAP, what do you think businesses have in their priority list when they come onto a platform like SAP or even Network? When they look for a supplier, do they really bother about diversity, or is it like it's just the business that matters from a procurement or a sourcing executive perspective is what I want to understand?
Yeah, I really think it's I don't want to call it trend, but it is like that. 10 years ago, when sustainability is starting to become an important topic at the corporate level versus now this is a really C-suite topic. Sustainability itself is a very strategic topic for CEOs, and therefore chief procurement officer, chief supply chain officers, all those chiefs have to support their CEO's agenda, and the sustainability becoming actually a growth engine for the company. So this is a very strategic topic. So it's not just saying, oh, it's CSR, corporate social responsibility as a marketing. It's not that. It's actually doing good business. It's actually making the business better, and it actually goes together with the shared value concept. So having said that, and each company is like implementing certain program, right? So like SAP itself has committed publicly that we call 5 by 25, which means 5% of our spend will go to social enterprise, 5% of our spend will go to diverse suppliers, and then that's all will be done by 2025. So we actually we've committed, right, publicly, but it's not just SAP. Many companies have such policies or the publicly announced programs that they all need to deliver, and that's one way for all the team members, employees can work towards, right? And so therefore, there's many companies I'm working with, and one of the things that I'm doing in my day job is something called industry think tank. And the whole concept is that inviting really the leaders of industries. And so it's a small group, but they are really big leaders of big companies. And they come together and talk about their common challenges and driving this sustainable procurement. And so because each of them all has that some sort of strategy and agenda that they need to contribute towards that diverse, whether it's diverse supplier topics, whether it is a more the environmental green emission topics and so on. So there are multiple pillars within sustainability they are looking after and impacting that from procurement and purchasing power. So therefore, I'm kind of working with all of them and then hearing that, and it is really real, and trying to incorporate that. So it comes from top down, CEO and the CPO level strategy. It has to come down from top down, and then working with the grassroots, the people like you and me, and the day-to-day job. And then we want to make that good impact, and therefore creating some sort of program and then project to execute and make that happen, so that it's not just saying it and actually really trying to spend better, and then incorporating those spending power to helping this other opportunities like diverse or social opportunities.
I think very rightly said, and I actually like this word "spend better." right? Because each and every business across the globe is spending better is really very important. So in fact, I completely agree with you in terms of procurement managers really focused on giving that right opportunity to diverse suppliers. I've been reading a lot about it. In fact, I had an opportunity to talk to a couple of real big companies, trying to understand how they think, and I was really taken uh, back with a huge surprise, and positively or pleasantly, I would say, because they talked a lot about the way their business is supporting diverse or small businesses. And I was like, wow, there are a lot of things that are happening across the globe, and it should travel across various continents. Like, for example, I read somewhere and I spoke to this executive there, and they did mention that there are various programs that the diverse supplier becomes a preferred supplier straight away in their system with the help of technology. So they've got about, say, for example, they've got 15,000, 20,000 suppliers across the globe. These diverse suppliers become a preferred partner straight away the moment they get registered. Then
Right.
they've done various programs across various locations to help these businesses grow. Like, for example, helping them with financing, helping them with invoice discounting at literally zero interest, 0.5% or maybe 0.7%, which is nothing, right? So I think it's slowly becoming a very positive sign for the businesses adopting to, these kind of practices, which is really heartening to see. Let me swap that a bit and talk towards how SAP or Ariba network has actually enabled small businesses to access the global requirements through its platform. So we talked about, businesses getting access to suppliers. Now I'm trying to talk about the reverse way, how the small suppliers are enabled to get access to the bigger companies and their requirements through your network. Also, if you would want to talk a bit about your relationship with WeConnect platform, wherein you have a dedicated instance out there, and that's, I think, you have done it as a support in some ways to WeConnect as well.
Okay. First of all, SAP Business Network, we have more than 4 million suppliers registered. But then actually 75%, almost 70, 73, 75% of them are actually SME, small business. So the long tails of spend goes to the small companies, right? So it's a very important part of our business. And then we need to serve those small suppliers. And so and one of the things that we do, there are several services that we provide on the business network for those suppliers. And for example, one of the best things that you mentioned is Ariba Discovery Services. That's like basically B2B matching services. You just register your company, create your profile, and then, based on your countries and whatever you do, then actually system the Ariba Business, SAP Business Network will send you the, to qualify the leads so that, you will actually, otherwise, how would you ever know that this big company was looking for XYZ kind of thing? So that's one thing. The other really good thing is that the small companies, what's their issues? Even if they may have purchase order and invoices, cash is a king, and cash flow is sometimes a challenge for small companies. And you go to the bank traditionally, show your invoices and trying to get some funding, the cash flow, working capital financing done. But sometimes that's also a roadblock because maybe big banks don't trust that those small diverse suppliers right away because you don't have a history yet or so on. So what does SAP Business Network does is that we just leverage this digital footprint we call, which is basically all the information that you have on the network because you show that history and you show that invoice, you work with the buyers. So all those things become proof points. And therefore, we have actually several banks that work in that business network concept there in the financing. And they trust that data digital footprint and then actually almost instantaneously financing those small diverse suppliers to get that the cash so they can work with. So these are the kind of services that we provide to help those small businesses to thrive, right? And so that's kind of definitely a game changer. WeConnect. So WeConnect is definitely our partner, and it's just as a SAP, as a company, a buyer, as well as a technology vendor, a partner. So we work in the both angle. Because we, like I mentioned, we have 5% the diversity spend goal. So companies like we connect is very important for us because they are the one who's sourcing this woman-owned business, but also certify them, which is very important for all these big companies like SAP to know that they are really truly certified, the real diverse suppliers, and also train them, right? So we work with, we connect in that as a buyer to get the more suppliers, but then also we help we connect to really do their business, the NGO mission better by providing our technology. For example, they implemented SAP, the Alibaba Discovery, the business network, as well as SAP Alibaba for supplier performance and lifecycle management, which they use to manage their own diverse, their woman-owned business. So they created that, their own way to manage their own woman businesses and connect them to all these big companies and buyers in their membership, right? So it's like they call it We Community. It's their portal. It's the business networks. So that network gets connected to our Alibaba network. So it's like a network economy, network of network connecting them. So they get to leverage all the other, the big other business coming through the SAP Alibaba network. Yeah, so that's kind of the relationship we have with WeConnect, and so we're very proud and excited to be part of that journey, and because that is one of the most well-known and biggest global NGO that is really connecting all these woman-owned businesses around the world and in 120 countries, I think. So that's amazing. Yeah.
Right, great. So before we just move forward, for the audience who are there, if you guys have any questions towards the end, we might have maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Please drop your questions in the chat box, and we'll try and see if we can take your questions, and maybe Sue can share her experience and views around those. Before I move forward, I think I would like to share about my experience of working or getting access to a platform like SAP Ariba. So we got certified as a woman-owned business, as a diverse supplier in the month of April. And this entire journey was through SAP platform, because as you said, WeConnect is your partner. And the moment we registered, it got, and the way we got certified, it was seamless. And upon registration, I think a lot of opportunities started coming to us. And we realized that there is so much potential that we could actually explore as a business. So, let me give you a quick 30 seconds background of, what FiveS has been all about. So we are a 12-year-old company, started in 2009, largely owned by women, and focusing on real equal opportunities for women, targeting 45 to 50% women across all the levels by 2023. When we started as a pure play BPO company, and today we've been able to align ourselves into customer experience, digital transformation, and helping various digital companies to manage their AI and machine learning algorithms much better way. During this entire journey, what I really felt amazing was what was missing from the platform. And this platform has really, helped us, getting access to various, businesses across the globe, matching our competencies. The platform has really helped us, get that visibility. And our marketing and sales teams have been looking at some real good opportunities. And I don't think it would have been possible without accessing such kind of network. And it is really powerful. So, somebody like us who have been able to, kind of identify what we are really good at doing and what we really want to do. I'm sure that if you get access to such a platform, such a network, the work becomes a lot more easier, because as you rightly said, it is more about discovery, right? So can you take a minute and talk about how does this discovery algorithm works with the SAP network? And what do you guys, try and focus on when you try to match a business with a particular requirement?
So currently, Alibaba Discovery shows that, there is a way you can actually identify yourself as diversity suppliers and what. So like we have a stat showing that 40,000 diversity suppliers, 27,000 small businesses, or 13,000 green suppliers. So because that's what buyers are looking for, right? The specific category of suppliers they want to work with, besides that special functionality they're looking for. So Discovery does track all those things. And then also along with our new trading partner directory, that is a really brand new solution that's coming out to help all the trading partners. So it's buyers, suppliers, manufacturers, anybody, the agents in the supply chain, all those players we call trading partners, and they have a seamless same experience going on to this business network, so that actually as a buyer or as a or maybe salesperson in your company, they go into that portal and they have experience to be able to actually manage all your customers, and then the invoices and purchase orders, and then even also compare their performances and then who's paying in time, and so on. So there is actually a network industry benchmark that will be available so that you can have better insights to decide who you're gonna do the business with. So like we mentioned in the beginning, it's not about the size and what, it's actually about the, whether you are providing good businesses, good services and goods. And as long as you're doing the good thing, and there is an opportunity to be shown here and discovered, because we are providing that insights for the companies to find the right businesses. So that matchmaking services is basically what Business Network is. It's like one platform. It's like a LinkedIn of the businesses. That's how we call it. You can find anybody there, and that's our goal. And creating powerful connections so all the businesses thrive. Yeah.
Right. I think that's very interesting and really good to know. As a company itself, when I talk about SAP, how do you ensure at SAP to be more inclusive and have diverse suppliers on board? I do understand that you've got a 5% spend on, responsible businesses, but does it stay at 5%, or is it like, you look at what value can a business add, and across the globe there is a mandate that you run? How do you ensure that that inclusivity at SAP?
I think first of all, it starts with ourselves walking the talk, meaning our SAP is definitely striving to be very inclusive company itself. And if you look at our employee workforce, composition, it's very, very diverse and proud, diverse employee here. And also the women in leadership. And there's a certain KPIs, of course, we want to set so that we drive our behaviors towards it. So that's our internal HR topic, but also we're helping our employees. We have a really high talent, right? The high skill talents. That's our assets really as a software company. And we are leveraging our talents to help the other create a more economic equity. So we actually just recently announced in the US, SAP Pro Bono for economic equity, working directly with those diverse suppliers or small businesses, Black-owned business and so on in major cities. And we go there and become like almost consultants, like Pro Bono, by helping them to run their business better and learn stuff. We also committed in, there's it's like NGO, S-Grid, capacity building for a program for social enterprises. So this is another big thing that we're really believing in, helping those companies, startups, social enterprises, because their mission, their goal is all about returning their profit back to the social goodness, right? So we're really helping them as well in a similar way to create their capacities and then training them and so on. So these are the several programs that we're doing. And 5x5 is just beginning, right? And then it's actually not just us, and 5x5 is actually extending to our suppliers. And then this applies to all the other big companies that I'm working with in the think tank. They have brand power, they have spending power. They do have a lot of power and influences they can make. And that's what's so important. So they can actually influence that there are suppliers of suppliers. So their tier one has to do certain things so that their tier one can choose the right suppliers. And then it's like a ripple effect. And only way to amplify, right? So the whole global supply chain. So we are in a very privileged and fortunate space to influence a lot of companies and business partners. And that's kind of how we're going to be expanding that inclusivity and the culture and the mindset as well. So for me personally, I would really love to work with our, customer, the leaders. And the reason we are setting up this think tank and discuss this sustainability topic is because also as a leader, individual contributor as a leader, but you can really lead the rest of the organization and the people, and then raising our own consciousness to be more conscious about what we do. It's not about just profit making anymore. It's not about just saving anymore. It's really saving the world together. And then that's only possible through this supply chain and all these trades we are making. So yeah, that's how I view it. And then I believe SAP will continue to expand that inclusivity within the company and through our supply chain and then through our technology to the whole world and all through our customers.
Awesome. I think this also then gives me a very interesting point to make here. And I think we can certainly at FiveS also look to possibly work with SAP at some point of time, because this is really amazing to know that, you have that commitment and it's not just SAP. Like, for example, Debbie is here as well. I've been talking to her on and off and have been discussing around impact sourcing. She's very passionate about it. And, driving a specific center of excellence with regard to impact sourcing and diverse businesses. I was also RSVP'd by Rita, who is now with Everest Group and is again, driving impact sourcing at Everest Group. Helping businesses, to kind of adopt more inclusive and impact practices. It then brings me to a very interesting point to, ask you. You talked about your think tank of working with business leaders from big conglomerates. What kind of challenges have been most common and that have popped up in your discussions that they face with regard to diverse suppliers or inclusivity?
Yeah. So actually, that's interesting you're asking that question, because we do have a separate industries and then they all have a common thing. I think most important thing from their point of view is that actually the data and insights, because there's a lot of data, but how do we use that data? And then because how can they make a better decision? Ultimately, they need the insights from this data. So that's why business network is actually very important to connecting that data and converting to network intelligence. Because for them, they know they have to do all kinds of things around diversities or the zero emissions and all the topic, but how actually implementing it, there is some gap here because there is intention, but then it's very complex and to make it happen because there are so many different suppliers. They really need to know who their suppliers and what they're doing when it comes to all those sustainability topics. So how do you know it? You can't visit thousands of companies and check and audit all the time. So we've been doing that, but very manual way. And so with a kind of little bit of a trust, right? And so that digital data part is definitely common challenges, and then they want to solve that together. So it's a little bit become more automated. So one of the simple things that we're working on is that how nice it would be if, because each buyer, it's all these big companies ask the same question to all these same suppliers. So they say, basically these suppliers has to answer probably 80% of the same questions over and over to deal with all these big companies, right? So if we can only just actually simplify that process somehow, so that there is that global trading partner directory where you come in and look it up, and the company, any company name, FiveS, and then it actually tells you right away the rating. It's almost like credit rating of your personal data, right? So that, okay, you are well-known, diverse, whatever, certified by WeConnect and many other things. So maybe employees, health and whatever, how you treat, all the information is kind of visible. Then actually people will be able to do the business much easier. So that's a little idealistic situation where we want to head to. And that is possible through business network and trading partner directory where we can find those companies. So that, yeah.
Great. So I think before I jump onto my last one, because we are left with about 7 minutes right now, I've got a few questions out here. I'll maybe take one or two. So one of the things, so one question is from Hemant, who says that, you know, from the business perspective, over the last couple of years, it has become a big challenge to manage supply chain, right? Have you got any pointer in terms of leaders talking about supply chain disruption, what they are doing to kind of bring supply chain back on track, whether it is to do with lead time or finding the right supplier or any other specific point? Because I think from an internet industry perspective, it has just bursted out, right? So there's a lot of data on internet, a lot of people going up there. So obviously it increases the vulnerability. And obviously there are many manufacturing companies who are running short of supplies. So how would you kind of, talk about challenges in supply chain in general?
Right. So I think we kind of touched up on that in the beginning when I was talking about last year's and how pandemic impacted it and corporate to like rethink of the supply chain. So yeah, so the leaders of supply chain, the supply chain leadership and executives are definitely rethinking that how the resilient supply chain is more important than ever. So that means that they need to really have to kind of predict what's going to happen. So forecasting a little bit more better on terms of demand and all those things, they're creating that planning aspect requires more data. So again, go back to kind of data aspect of it. So digitalizing your systems, that helps, right? If you don't have that, how do you know? So that's why supply chain collaboration is a big topic in our case, because when you are working with your subcontractors who's delivering maybe just-in-time parts and so on, without this just-in-time communication through the digital solutions like our SAP Ariba supply chain collaboration that allows them to really interact. So then they can actually, adjust, right? Okay, we know that Suez Canal is blocked now. So where is my order? I look at it, it's stuck in there. So now what am I going to do? Looking at my production planning schedule, I need to maybe contact the supplier B, right? The plan B options and so on. So that all has to come together. So yeah, definitely forecasting and planning better, but that's only possible having better insight and then have the almost real-time visibility on your supply chain. And that's what we're trying to achieve through our technology.
Awesome. Great. The next one is more about what are the specific or major challenges you face as SAP network when you try and onboard suppliers onto your platform?
When we're trying to onboard suppliers,
yeah.
We helped our customers, our buyer customers, to onboard their suppliers, and then our system is in a way that it's very simple to get on board. So actually, I don't know, some of you maybe already tried it, but sometimes you get the email invitation. It's like personally when you go on to some, like Amazon, whatever, and creating your profile, it's that simple. So it's not. But I think what it is important is that it's project by project, meaning customer by customer, it's different because some customers are onboarding 20,000 suppliers at once. And so this is actually when you go into that big scale, and then when some customers are going on to the Ariba and then asking all their suppliers to be on board, this requires some project management, of course. So we don't just let the customer do it. We do it together. And then we have actually the supplier onboarding planning actually software internally that we are using to help them to plan these things out, so that it has to go by their plan, like maybe go by category and so on. So every business has their priorities. So it's a little bit of project that they need to do to onboard all those suppliers. Yeah.
Awesome. So I think I'll just take a pause there from the questions that we got. And I'll just jump on to the last one for the first coffee chat. What about the Chase Zero goal at SAP? You shared some videos with me and I was blown away. So what kind of commitments are you as an organization making around it? And what's the plan?
Yeah, so like initially I mentioned that SAP looks at the sustainability as a really strategic pillar for us, and it's two sides model. So we want to be an exemplar as a very sustainable company. And then we also want to be the enabler for all the companies in the world to be that sustainable. And we know that each company cannot achieve the goals without the technology and data insights, right? So that's what we do at SAP. We provide this technology. And therefore, we actually focusing on 3 pillars in this sustainability journey. One is a zero emission. So that's what we want to help the companies to achieve their goals of being zero emission as it's neutralizing. Of course, some companies have to produce the emission because they are doing their business, but they can neutralize it, right? And zero waste, that's where we're chasing zero waste because we really wish to see the world without waste, and by circular economy, maybe recycling it and so on, right? And a lot of our customers are actually manufacturing companies, and they are looking at how they can get into that circular economy, right? So the other part is that zero inequality, which is the stuff that we've been talking about last 30, 40 minutes, and a lot to do with the social procurement and social responsibility through the supply chain. So zero inequality, whether it's giving more equal opportunity to the smaller businesses or diverse businesses, whether it is actually, just the gender equalities and anything. So a lot of companies are striving to be better in terms of social responsibility. So these are the 3 areas that we are focusing on, and then we are developing our product strategy along to that pillars, right? So we do have already amazing product sets that makes the companies to run better, be efficient, and so on. And then we need to focus on the newer solution that complements this existing products so that companies can achieve those goals. That's what we mean by chasing zero, because we want the world without emission and waste and inequality.
That's amazing. For anyone who hasn't watched the Chase Zero video, go and watch it. I really loved it. So that actually brings us to the end of the first coffee chat, and I'm done with my coffee. Right. Right. So, Sue, thank you so very much for joining me in today. I'm sure, people who joined in here and people who watched us on various social platforms, they would have thoroughly enjoyed, and obviously some learnings that they would have taken, and we'll continue to learn. So the whole idea of Coffee Chat is this. I think it's been a great start. It's invite-only event, and I'm sure that people will learn a lot. Thank you so very much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much, Sue, for joining in. I'm sure that we are heading towards a better world, and look forward talking to you soon, and hopefully working with you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day,
everyone. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.